Hello and welcome to Hungary, specifically the Hungaroring. As you can see at the top, it's a free practice session that you're joining me in. So this is for a Friday fun event by Scottish Legends, the Discord community and racing league, I suppose, that I've been joining twice already for their endurance events on Monday, which they call Monday Marathon. But so on Friday, they also have a recurring thing that they call Friday Fun Events. And this past Friday, it was a GT2 mini championship with a European F1 team. So the idea was to do 4 short-ish races on European Formula One tracks, namely Hungaroring, Barcelona, then Monza and Spa. And I was very happy to join this event because 3 of those tracks I had driven a lot already, a lot for my standards. I'm sure most people in these lobbies have driven them way more than me. But on the other hand, the new thing for me and for a lot of people, as it turned out, was driving GT2 cars. So if you're not too familiar with these things, online sim racing is quite heavily dominated, I would say, by the GT3 series. Most of the videos that I've put out have been in Assetto Corsa Competizione driving those GT3 cars, specifically the Porsche 992 GT3R. But for this Friday fun event, they decided to go with the GT2 cars, which are available also in Assetto Corsa Competizione through a DLC pack. And so I figured, I'll just practice a bit beforehand and it'll be fine. I might not be great, but, learning a new track feels to me that it takes more time to get up to speed somewhat than learning a new car, even if it's in a different class. So I put myself as interested in the event. Then I promptly forgot all about it until the day before. And then I saw, oh crap, GT2 cars, need to get to practicing. So I set out to practice versus AI, to not be an obstacle on the road for other people at first. And I have to say I really liked these GT2 cars, so I was kind of excited to maybe race them online, but definitely to race them in this event. And I was hoping that other people wouldn't be too familiar with them either. I went for it, and so I joined. And the event format was that it was for the whole evening. So it started out with 4 practice sessions on each of the 4 tracks once. Ending on Spa, because that was the first race that would happen in the actual mini championship. So it made sense to do the free practice for Spa right before the race. Due to some technical reason, there was also a 5-minute mini race between the free practice sessions, just to make the lobbies function properly. 5-minute race is basically 2 to 3 laps, and that's it. So didn't really amount to much, and wasn't at all the focus for me. You saw me practicing a bit on Hungaroring, a track I'm still not familiar with really, to be honest. It's also a very technical track, making it hard for GT2 specifically. Here we are in a free practice on Spa, which went quite a bit better for me, and I believe I will be showing here my best lap. So far you can see I had a 2:25.0, which is not great, but remember GT2's different class, so it's expected to have different lap times. And to elaborate on that, what makes GT2 different from GT3 is that their aero package is a lot less intricate. They're much closer to regular road driving cars, though they are a bit tuned for circuit racing. Less aero package, they have more power, which may seem a bit unintuitive because it's basically, I think, regarded as a bit of a lower class than GT3. When driving them, it does make sense. So the lesser aero package makes that they are slower in the corners. They just can't take them as fast, but then they can get on the power quite hard coming out of them. which carries less risk than going through corners fast. So you still get a very racy feeling, and on some tracks even competitive lap times with GT3 more or less, but with just a different balance. So braking is worse in GT2's, cornering is slower, but then the power output is higher. And on Spa or Barcelona or especially Hungaroring, I think that makes them a lot slower. But then on Monza, which is a super fast track, it's not known as the temples of speed for a reason. So there, the lap times are actually very comparable with GT3. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm about to complete my lap here on Spa, and predicted lap time 2:24. So still quite a ways off of my personal best in GT3 cars, but as I said, fully to be expected. But yeah, just all of this to say, GT2 cars, I find them super fun, and I was very happy with this event already going into it, but especially towards the end of it. And I thought, why not look for an online race? So I checked which lobbies there are, and I sorted them by drivers, and unfortunately there is 0 lobbies with drivers in them when you just look at a regular time. So yeah, it'll be just this event it seems with the GT2s. That's unfortunate. It is what it is. So the races went in the order Spa, Monza, Barcelona, Hungaroring, but I'll be showing them in reverse order. The reason will become apparent later. But so starting on Hungaroring, I set out to do my first quali lap. And I put down 1 minute 50.0, which I think is a very bad time. It put me P10, but that was because, well, that was the slowest completed lap that actually was registered. So the people behind me didn't have a registered lap basically, and I was the slowest of the people that did. Which was not a surprise, because yeah, this track is so unfamiliar to me. I didn't expect anything else, to be honest. So I'll be starting close to Marty Fox, who you may know from previous videos. Then Erik Liva in front of me will play a slightly bigger role also in this video series. And so we set off for the race. A bit slow start for me, but I catch up heavily by turn 1. And we're 3 wide in T1. Yeah, but we complete it without too much drama. We see Piscopiello basically next to me, or coming alongside now. We bang doors a bit, but it doesn't amount to much. It's all just good racing, I'd say. And they managed to complete the overtake on me, which slows me down on the exit. And then Marty Fox makes his way through as well because of that. So I'm slotting in now, and thinking about going on the inside here on Marty Fox, but it would leave me very tight, and on exit I wouldn't be able to drift to the outside to really put the power down, so I back out of it. Fox did leave the space for me, so appreciate it, but nothing comes from it for me. So now we're on the back section of Hungaroring, which by the way is a super technical track with a lot of pretty medium fast cornering, which makes it pretty difficult for GT2s. They really drift around a lot. And what made it worse for me in this race was that for the 3 previous races I was just doing my own thing, but then for this last one I figured I'm gonna suck anyway, might as well be on Discord, because it's not like it's gonna make me a lot worse. So I joined the Discord voice channel for Scottish Legends, and it messed with my audio, and it ended up that I had the Discord channel in my headset, so I play in VR and I could hear the Discord channel there. But for some reason my PC decided to then send the game audio to my computer speakers, which meant that I could just faintly hear them in the background, and I just couldn't hear my tires, for example, and the revs on the car. So it made for a very bad time. So after the initial part of the race, I just kind of fell back, and I remained in P10 for pretty much the whole race, with just 2 people behind me who were still way worse than me. And then the actual bunch, the P9 about roughly 10 seconds in front of me, who was then Erik Liva. So that's how it went for the race. My fastest lap so far was a 1:49.1, which I think is still very, very, very bad. But yeah, this part of the video will be pretty short because this race just kind of sucked overall, especially with the audio issue. If you don't sim race yourself, it's maybe easy to underestimate how important the sound is because you depend on it a lot for your gear shifting, hearing the revs. But then especially in cornering, if you hear your tires screech, you know that you're surpassing the edge of grip. And it's a very important cue to really modulate your driving on. So being unable to hear it, yeah, I was just drifting constantly and just sliding in corners. It was made worse also by this track having so many corners. There's very little in the way of straights, so yeah, it was a rough time. Also, I then joined the Discord voice channel, but I barely said anything. It was fun to hear them shoot the shit while they were racing, but I was just trying to get what little audio cues I could get from the computer speakers in the background, just faintly giving the game sounds. So yeah, it felt a bit lame on my end, but nothing I could do during the race. It's not like I could just quickly alt-tab and fix anything. There's just no time for it during racing. But anyway, towards the end of the race, I noticed that I started closing in on Liva. And I went back in the replay to check why, and here in the penultimate corner they just went wide. They started braking on the grass and then they went wide in it. Also here the very next lap they did the same thing, I think towards the start of the second sector. So this allowed me to close up quite a bit. And on my timing screen I saw that it had the distance had dropped, or the gap had dropped below, I believe, 8 seconds. And then on the final lap of the race, suddenly the gap completely closed, and I saw them here on the side of the road, and I drove by them, checking my mirrors afterwards to see, are they still with me? Do I need to try and bring this home? But so on review, if you check what happened with Liva, I think that's coming out of turn 3, they just had a big moment. They started sliding, they overcorrected. They ended up fully spinning and then very slowly got back on their way. But at that point, I drove by in my blue Maserati. By the way, you might be, yeah, good to see the car because you'll see it from the outside later too. It's good to recognize. But anyway, so I passed Liva. I was checking my mirrors because they were sticking quite close behind, and I still had the audio issue. So I was worried that they would just drive past me again because I was still sliding all over. Actually, towards the end of the race, it seems to be getting worse and worse. But so I tried to lock in for these last couple of sectors. And yeah, I tried to maintain the gap or even increase it if I could. I didn't expect to be able to because, yeah, well, I assumed that Liva didn't have the audio issue that I had. But then suddenly on the timing screen, we see that they dropped way behind. So I have a replay of that as well. So here we see them giving chase, and then they just overdrive this corner, they go wide, they start sliding all over. And I think at this point they give up. I skipped about 5 seconds or so here when they were just standing still, so I guess they really gave up. They did end up going back on their way, but by this time I was long gone, so and then they just kind of started drifting and doing whatever, so I think they were like, okay, I'm done here. On the very last few corners, I did notice that Camaras in front, I don't remember where in the standings they were exactly, but they had a 30-second penalty. So I was still trying to push even after Liva had fully given up. I was still trying to push as hard as I could, but I ended up being 35 seconds behind, which of course 5 seconds I was never gonna make up. But during the race I didn't really know how large the gap was. I knew it was around roughly 30 seconds, maybe 40 seconds, but yeah. I figured I'd just give it a go, but ended up amounting to nothing. So that was the end of the Hungaroring race. Yeah, definitely the least fun of the four. The thing that made it fun at least a bit was that I was on the Discord and just these guys they're so funny when they're racing each other and just like talking shit or commenting on their own overtakes and fails. So that was good fun. And yeah, otherwise a forgettable race. But yeah. Going back in time to the race before, we're now at Barcelona, a track I've driven quite a lot, or for a significant part of my experience in sim racing and in this game, ACC. So I was happy to drive it, and I set out for qualifying, and I did a 149.7 for my for a new personal best. This put me P8, which I think might have been the slowest timed lap, but I wasn't sure of that. But anyway, I went again. Didn't do so well in this very last sector, specifically the chicane. I went too deep on entry, but I still improved by almost a second, so putting me on a 148.9, which took me from previously P8 to still P8. So no improvement in position, but yeah, good bit of time gain. So at least nice to see improvement for myself. Now, by the end of my next lap, I was already P9, so someone had gone faster than me, but I managed to do then a 148.5, improving a little bit more, and this put me back on P8, and that would be also the position I would start my racing. So in front of me, I had Marty Fox, then I forget a bit what it was exactly. I think Bruno Longahella was in the blue Maserati, basically same color as me that we see drive to my front right. Marty Fox had dropped behind on the start, and I was messing up a bit with my warm-up, and I ended up too far forward, which ended up sucking badly, but I will explain why in a moment. So by the time I was ready to go, I was about to slow down because I was too close to Marty Fox, but they ended up going to the left and dropping back to make sure there was no contact, I guess, which removed my frame of reference. Not to say that they did anything wrong, it ended up making my start even worse, and I was too far forward. Now, all of that was quickly forgotten because the first sector was quite quite active, a lot of action there. I had Plevko very close behind. Petes was also somewhere in the mix. Plevko starts an overtake, but I managed to brake later into this 180-degree turn with a big radius. And I managed for now to stick to my position, though they come back. And again, into this hairpin, I outbrake them, and then they were hampered by the car rejoining. So in the end, I managed to stick with my position here and keeping P7. So now I'm behind Ray Crawford, and I had Plevko behind, but he in the end got overtaken by Petes. So here we see in front Marty Fox going to the outside of the track because I was too close behind. It would have been fine because there's no collision if you start with the two cars basically tangled, and I was about to slow down, but yeah, anyway, precautionary getting out of the way by them, which I get. I'm the blue car on the inside of the track there in the 3 wide. So I think the black one, who was that again? I think Crawford was in the 3 wide as well, and then Petes too. Petes on the outside, he got bumped and he fell back. Then Plevko started coming for me. I outbraked him here into the long corner, but then they were better on exit and they took the lead again. But then into this hairpin, I again came back on the brakes, and here there was a car rejoining and they slightly backed out of it, which meant I could take the lead. And then, yeah, heading to this medium speed corner, they also got overtaken by Petes because he could follow me through on the faster line. So now I have Ray Crawford in front of me and Chris Petes behind. Chris Petes, of course, a famous politician in Flanders, Belgium. I do doubt it's the same guy, but who knows. So yeah. I'm following Crawford, Peters right behind. I know from past events that Peters was pretty fast, but not too much faster than me. But then in these GT2 cars in free practice, he had turned out to be quite a beast. So he's very fast. He goes for a move somewhat here in the chicane, but decides to back out of it, and I think it was for the best. Though I still made sure to leave a little bit of space just in case. So we can see it in the replay here. Going into the corner before the chicane, it was already very close, and then here in the chicane it goes for the inside line, but really there's a gap that will always be closing, so I don't think it's a good choice to go for it there. And they back out of it. They were almost maybe far enough alongside to actually claim room, and I did leave a bit of space, but yeah, wouldn't work out. But anyway, the main overtaking opportunity on this track, I would say, is turn 1, so I was fully expecting the move here since they were already so close behind. They do indeed go for a slight dive, and I leave room on the inside, which turns into the outside in turn 2. And they manage to make the move happen. They get past me. I don't consider the fight over at this point because I am still sticking close behind them. But so yeah, here we see the move happen. I take somewhat a defensive position, even though it may not look like that to the untrained eye. But I don't give, or I squeeze a bit on the inside where I expected him to go. And then right before braking, I move back to almost fully to the outside, so keeping my right tires just on the curb. Here in the long 180-degree corner, I was thinking about, can I come back on him, but not really. He just takes the inside line and then drifts wide on exit as you're supposed to do, and there's nothing for me to do against it, so stuck behind. And behind me then, in turn, Plevko and Fox are battling, and we can see that they are basically at the same gap behind, and turns out that Fox ends up ahead. With all of this action though, I'm forgetting about the start of the race, so in the end I was too far forward and I got a drive-through penalty for my starting position. Here we see Crawford spinning out, so I do take the P7 because of it, which I had lost P7 to Peters, but then with Crawford out I went from P8 to P7 again. But yeah, to come back to the start thing, I had a drive-through penalty, which if you look at the field spread and the length of the race meant that I would be dead last if I took the penalty. So I figured, I'll just keep racing as long as I can. And then when I don't have time to postpone it anymore, you get 3 laps of time to go in for the penalty. I figured I would just take it until the last lap, do as much battling as I can, and then my race would be over anyway, so I figured I would then take the penalty, go into the pits. I was a bit distracted because I wasn't sure entirely during the race what happened with Marty Fox, but by this point my penalty still stood, but he had actually gotten the same penalty for the starting position, I think because he went outside the track to dodge me basically. But Marty Fox's penalty was lifted by race control, and I think race control is Marty Fox, although I'm not 100% sure of that. But so I was kind of hoping my penalty might also be lifted because I wasn't sure why his was. But anyway, that was also going through my mind. But his had been lifted, I think, already at the end of lap 1 or beginning of lap 2 or so. And mine still stood, and we're now coming towards the end of lap 3. So lots to think about. I was also noticing that Marty Fox was coming very close behind. I went too deep here into the hairpin that's at the start of, I guess, sector 3. They didn't manage to capitalize, and in fact I think they may have followed me going wide. Yeah, I get a warning for exceeding track limits, but you get 3 before a penalty, so no big deal there. And I'm still looking behind because I don't expect to catch back up to Peters, and Fox was within 1 second, although he ended up dropping back after going into the next lap. And with all of that going on, I lost track of my stop and go penalty, and I started my 4th lap, and that resulted in immediate disqualification. So race 3 and 4, yeah, good to forget them. It wasn't great. Luckily, the other 2 were very nice, and I'll be uploading those replays as the next 2 videos. So thank you for watching, and goodbye.